Okay, so this one's a pretty fun one. You
Okay.
probably would have
We're
heard
gonna
of
face
it.
each other a bit more.
Here we go. I've talked to a few people about this,
Okay.
and the amount of users that it's got is crazy for the amount of people that I know that haven't actually heard of it at all. So it's very cool. So artificial intelligence is absolutely blowing up right now, right? So
That's true.
we're saying goodbye to
People in the industry call it machine learning. I've heard.
machine learning. Yeah, that's right. It's a little bit of a combo wombo of a few different things. So basically, we're saying goodbye to Web3, decentralized, and all that old stuff
Really?
because this is the artificial intelligence is the new wave of
All right, tell me
this. So basically, like, you know what else might be old news as well? Google. I'll explain
it.
it.
Oh my gosh.
All right, I'll explain
You're blowing it up here, bro.
So there's this thing that's come out by this company called OpenAI.
OpenAI?
Called Chat GPT.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, good.
So
I've heard of this, but I don't know enough about it.
Oh, yeah. So here we go. So
Great, let's do it.
ChatGPT is a product by OpenAI,
Mm-hmm.
and it has it's gone from 0 to 1 million users in 5 days, which both Facebook and Instagram took 2 years to get to that point.
Oof.
And then I'm talking early December. So it launched in December 2022.
Yes.
And it's got so much hype. It's crazy.
Okay.
And so earlier in 2022, they actually launched DALL-E, which is I'll talk about later.
Okay.
But DALL-E 2, which
DALL-E
is
2.
an image version, but this is
DALL-E
actually a text-based interface.
Sounds like a Bollywood artist.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Hmm.
This one's actually text-based, so basically you can ask any kind of question to it, and it'll respond as if it's in a conversational tone. It's like trying to help you out. It knows what's best for you to know.
Okay.
And it's like a human talking to you, for example.
Okay.
So
I mean, Siri does that though, doesn't she?
not very well.
No, I agree with that.
Not well at all.
I
So
agree with
this
that.
is next level crazy.
level,
When
okay.
you use Siri and then you use this, the difference is incredible.
Okay.
So Sam Altman is the serial entrepreneur that
I've heard of this
that
guy.
started. Yeah, so he's a Y Combinator.
Okay.
He's a Y Combinator founder that originally. So he had different businesses running through Y Combinator, and he actually he's the founder that runs OpenAI. It's a non-profit organization that develops the AI tech.
Nice.
So Sam Altman's been the CEO of Y Combinator before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously the startup incubator that funded companies like Airbnb, Dropbox, Reddit. And in April 2009, Paul Graham, who's one of the original
Yes.
YC founders
Yep.
that started Y Combinator, he said that Sam Altman was in his top 5 founders along Steve Jobs, Larry and Sergey of Google.
Yeah. This isn't Sam Altman Fried, is it?
No, that's Sam Bankman-Fried. we do have to do something on that though.
I thought about that. Yeah.
That's fun
We'll
coverage.
get to that. Sorry,
yeah,
keep going.
that'll be a later episode, I think.
That's still unraveling.
Yeah, still unraveling, crazy. We can provide live updates.
So, yes, right.
It'll be good.
They'll just be 6 months delayed. That's all.
That's right. Yeah. So at the time when he wrote that he was one of the top 5 founders, this guy was 24, and he
Wow.
wrote that he can't be stopped by flimsy rules, and that startup investing doesn't consist of trying to pick winners the way you might in a horse race.
Yep.
But there are very few people with such force of will that they're going to get whatever they want.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's this guy. So he's obviously
How old is he now?
he's I think he's about 37.
Is he?
So yeah.
Okay. In
It's
his prime?
obviously you can add 2000. You can add 24 to 2009, and it'll.
Well,
come
that's
up
the
with about that.
attribute. That's what we were talking about last night. You remember when we were talking about how some people just always are asking other people to solve their problems?
Absolutely, yeah,
That's what you're talking about there. He knows what he needs and he goes and gets it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, absolutely,
It's
and
a good characteristic.
he really makes it happen. So he's got that drive behind him.
Okay.
So OpenAI has received $1 billion from Microsoft. And it's run off the back of Microsoft Azure, which is
Yes.
Microsoft's basically cloud service system. So it's very similar to Amazon AWS.
Does this compete with
you've heard of
Bing? Don't they own Bing?
it. Microsoft owns Bing, yes, and it competes with search engines
Okay.
in the way that it gives you, instead of giving you results,
Mhm.
it ranks. So for example, a search engine will give you many results, and
Mhm.
then Google's incentive is actually to put paid ads between
Yeah,
all
that's
the
right.
results and take you longer to get to the result.
Ah, yes.
Whereas,
Good point.
so they actually
Very good
they
point.
aren't incentivized to give you the best answer straight away,
That's right.
which is why some answers are really good. For example, they'll have it bold at the top. They'll
Mhm.
tell you the actual answer. You look up how old's Brad Pitt, and it'll come up with the bold answer at the top.
Yeah.
But for example, there are certain things where they could do that, and it would make it a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
But instead of that, they want you to click on the ads. They want you
Great.
to see all the things. So
That's good. Good
um,
distinction.
essentially, this is giving you a specific answer. So I can give you, for example, a very specific view into it. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, you look up on Google.
Yep.
You look up. All right. You're looking up a programming question for building an iOS app on Swift, for example, right? So
Okay. That's
you
very specific.
you can type in how to create a login form in Swift
Mhm.
in Google, and
Mhm.
you'll search through multiple pages of info,
Yep.
heaps of different websites, watch different YouTube tutorials,
Yep.
and then finally you can kind of grind out or amalgamate different things because you obviously you want it to look how you want it to look,
Yes.
and you're never going to get the exact answer from someone else doing
No,
that.
you
You're
get
all,
little bits from all these different sources.
and there's obviously
to
there's
still-
going to be 20 or 30 methods to make a login page, so you're
Yeah.
going to have to take the best bits.
Mhm.
But a lot of the times, the best bits actually don't work well together because
That's a good point.
when you do one part of a line of code, for example,
Mhm.
you actually get like you're defining certain functions or whatever,
Mhm.
and then you're doing something else after that,
Mhm.
and from someone else's code, and it's not going to work because it's got different functions.
And they potentially interact.
Yeah, exactly.
And they couldn't have foreseen that because you've put two things together that never existed before together.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
And so obviously,
I see the issue.
Obviously it's better just to learn it yourself, but a good way to learn, for me anyway, is just
Yeah,
like
totally.
finding.
It's kind of like block learning in my head, where it's like I need to do this thing. I'm going to learn how to do this thing,
Mm.
and then you over time you've put all the blocks together, and now you know how to do everything.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, Chat GPT, this is where it gets incredible. You type in "make me a login form" instead of "how to make a login form."
Oh,
So you type "make me a login form" for Switch, and in less than 10 seconds, it'll give you line by line. It'll type it out, format it in the correct way, show you how to put it in and where to put it in,
really?
and give you tips on how to set up your project to actually work for it. So essentially, you can copy, and this works with any programming language,
Mhm.
any a lot of different problems that you could have in that area.
Mm-hmm.
It will actually go and do the work for you, and then you can you can type in a whole app idea, and it will give you the code to copy across.
So it intermediates that process where you previously had to go and find all of the little bits and aggregate it together. It does that. And
Yeah,
it just
so-
provides to you that aggregation of information. Is that right?
So instead of having to look up methods and different
Yep.
things or whatever,
Yep.
it's literally just doing the work that
Really?
you would be doing. So
I see, if I could make a comment there, I think that's interesting because if you talk to professionals, so if you talk to, let's say, for a lawyer, for example, a lawyer will tell you that they are never going to be irrelevant because whilst they don't necessarily know all of the laws, because there's too many, they know the terms, the things to look up, the places to find them, and that's what makes them valuable. In somewhat like that's what makes doctors valuable, and etc. Right? But if this can basically just take a common phrase and just find the actual substantive information that's difficult to retrieve, then you could make every profession irrelevant potentially.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's
That's crazy.
It's pretty insane. So
Okay.
here's another use case that I've seen a lot
let's
of.
do it.
So what I find cool about it is that it can write anything you want. So the business applications are actually crazy. So you can get, for example, one thing that I tried out a lot was writing an email to a potential client. Say they're a local plumber and you're a marketing agency.
Mhm.
So you can put in all of that information,
Mhm.
and we'll actually show the video of that on screen
Yeah,
where it
that'll
comes up
That'd
with
be
the
good.
email.
Yeah.
And then, for example, you say, okay, so it's written up that email. You've told it about the plumber's business.
heck?
You've told it the plumber's name. You've told him
It
about
writes
your
an email.
business,
Okay.
and it'll write you that email
Crazy.
that says, dear, local business, we all know that marketing spend is important for growing.
It comes up with a copy.
And it'll come up with all the whole email for you.
Really?
And then, essentially, what you can do is you can say, okay, that didn't work. So can you please write me a script for a phone call, for example,
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
follow
yeah.
up on that, and
Yeah.
so it'll write you a script for
Right.
the phone call to follow up, or it'll write you a further email if
Bro,
you
this is
put in
crazy. It's
the
making
response.
it's wild.
Yeah, absolutely. It's insane.
Right.
So essentially,
I've seen this before.
it'll do that, and it will. Then you can put in additional information. Then you can say, actually, he speaks Spanish. Put it in Spanish. It'll translate it all to Spanish for
Wow.
you. It'll
Okay.
do all these things. So and
Okay,
you can make
alright.
all these different modifications based on all this text.
Okay.
So the better you are at giving the instruction, the better the result will be
Yeah.
in terms of the email. So all of that's really good, but it only scratches the surface of what you can do. So imagine using Chat GPT. Here's a couple of business ideas for you.
Okay,
Imagine
great.
using Chat GPT to write your blogs for your websites to optimize SEO,
Yep.
or getting it to generate websites for creative agency clients, or write movie scripts, or do
Yep.
all of that. You could give it
Yep.
characters, and you could give it
Okay.
plot lines you want to develop, and you can give it all of this stuff.
Okay.
And it'll do it. So here's some other really cool use cases I saw.
Mhm.
There was someone creating a website, and they needed a customer profile, so they wrote down attributes for ChatGPT to fill out.
Mhm.
Basically, they wanted dummy data for to test their system.
Yeah.
So they wrote down, give me a name, age, city, where they live, all that stuff.
Yep.
Then you can actually create all those fake profiles as demos, but you can, let's say, for example, they wanted to load up their system
Mhm.
with all these fake dummy profiles. You can say, okay, now put it in a table format for CSV export. So you can put it into that table format, take it, make it an Excel file, and plug it into your system. Or you can say, I actually want it in comma separated, for writing in a piece of code
Yeah.
or whatever. And so it'll give you it in whatever format.
Wow.
So another one that I saw where they were running ads, they were like, we need to break down our demographics by each city in the UK.
Mhm.
And then instead of, imagine someone spending hours looking for the right list which had all the cities and
Mhm.
or trying to type out all the lists
Yep.
of all the cities that they advertise in, they could just say, hey ChatGPT, what are all the cities in the UK? And it'll list them alphabetically, for example.
Interesting. Okay.
And
All right.
and then I personally liked, I asked it how to make a mobile game,
Mhm.
and like a very general question, and
Mhm.
it basically gave me a 6-step process of how it would go about actually doing that,
Wow.
which was really interesting.
That is interesting.
And it was talking about getting a game engine, then getting a language you want to write it in, and then getting
Mhm.
a platform you want to release it to, and everything like that.
And this is just a website.
It's a website. So it's you look up ChatGPT,
Yep.
and
Okay.
then you have to make a login, and then and so it's got a lot of users so far.
Are
And
we
then
going to talk about how they monetize this?
so
Because
yes.
you talked about how it's so good because there's no ads. They don't need you to be retained on the
it'll
search
definitely
website.
be, so it'll be a so basically at the moment it's like a beta, so I think it's been trained for 2020 and 2021. And obviously like up until December.
Mhm.
And so it's been trained for that.
Mhm.
And then essentially it's in the there's writing around on the website which talks
As
about
in,
how
sorry, did you mean 2021, 2022?
no, it got trained till
During
up
that
until
period.
2021, yeah.
All right.
And released in December 2022.
Okay. Right. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and so it's in the beta version, and
yes. So they don't care at the moment about that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
but it'll definitely be like a paid service, I think.
Yes.
It'll be like something like that.
It'll become so valuable, people will just pay for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
it's got so many millions of users now that like everyone's gonna be like, okay, well, this is really working.
Okay.
So
Okay.
one of the other things that I asked it to do was rank the top performing stocks of the last decade.
Oh, yeah.
And then I asked it what the greatest film of all time was.
Oh, you would.
Then I asked it how many
What was
senators
it?
are in
What was the
Australia.
film?
It gave me a list. It was like, well, there's no definitive answer for it. So I was
Nice.
like, okay, well, that's a bit lame, because
Well, it can't have an opinion.
it should have an opinion. That's
Well,
what
that's
I think.
scary. That's a whole other thing if it has an opinion.
I guess so. It listed The Godfather and The Shawshank Redemption and everything. So it's the same as Google in that sense, and like a lot of the answers are the same.
Yeah.
But you have to ask it more complex questions to get. You ask better
Yes.
questions, you get better answers. So
It's a good life skill right there.
absolutely. So yeah, and then I asked it what. Here's a better question. I asked it what the difference between quantum computing and artificial intelligence is.
Yeah.
Gave me a 4-paragraph answer. Then I said,
Really?
actually, that was a bit too long. Can you make it simpler, easier
Oh,
to
you can do
understand?
that.
And and it was like, okay, I've summarized it. It gave me a 1-paragraph, simpler terms,
Yeah.
and much better.
That's great.
Or you can say elaborate on this probably, and it would have
Yeah.
written you a whole essay or something.
Wow.
And so this is where it gets really meta, because I asked it to write me a script for a podcast called HQLA about ChatGPT.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
I get it.
Yeah.
And this has been it?
Yeah, there you go. It's not really. No, I wrote this one. But I did ask it what it would include, and so it gave me a little
Okay.
structure of what it would include for
Yeah,
the
right.
podcast, talking about Chat GPT, which is very interesting.
What a great twist.
There you go. Yeah, it's all been talking to you the whole time. Please help me. I'm stuck in the back room. That's what it said. I'm locked in the basement.
All right, that's cool. I like it.
Yeah.
That's good. As I said at the start, it's something I've heard about. I listen to Lex Friedman a lot. He talks about it. He loves AI, and he has a podcast, and he just sort of, the way he talks about it is like assumed knowledge, and I don't know anything about it. So this has been very helpful.
Yeah, there we go. So next I'm going to talk about DALL-E 2, which is
DALL-E 2. You did say that.
yes,
Yeah.
so
Good.
DALL-E 2 is earlier in 2022 where it came out.
Okay.
So it's actually a visual tool which generates highly detailed, realistic images from
Yes.
textual descriptions.
My housemate showed me this.
Yeah, there you go. It's quite cool. So I tried to sign up. It was actually a limited, it
Yes.
was a really limited one.
He signed up about 6 months prior, and
Yeah.
he finally got it about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
So one of the, so I've just done a lot of looking at other people using it, which is really
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
So you can type in "men in a funny hat." It'll give you multiple versions of the picture in men in different funny hats,
Yeah.
different men, different hats, different backgrounds. Then you can say, actually, I want it to have fruit on it, and
Yes.
then it'll have fruit on the hat, and then you can drill down and you could say, I want it in the style of Van Gogh, or I want it in an 8-bit pixelated style, or I want him to be standing next to a pink house leading an elephant, for example.
Yeah.
And it will give you all of these different artistic impersonations. So one of the best ones that I saw was someone was creating fake scenes from Wes Anderson movies. So Wes Anderson's this director who directs really colorful art style movies that are very wacky.
Okay. I haven't seen
And
it.
then basically they took that and they said, make all the Star Wars characters in Wes Anderson's style.
Oh yeah.
And then it made them all very 1950s kind of characters.
Yeah.
And so that was very funny that it could just take that, and that's something that some random artist would think of and just do, but
Mhm.
it's like a computer that's thinking
Did
of
the
that
work.
and doing that.
Interesting.
And so basically one thing that's really cool is we've seen a number of startups that are plugging straight into OpenAI's services, particularly DALL-E 2. So one of the startups that was a couple of months ago, it would have been 6 months ago or something, was an app called Lensa AI. So basically this was, you might have seen it, so a number of people were posting selfies of themselves in AI generated form. So basically they would post 10 different photos on Instagram and they would say oh, this is, and it would show them, on a horse or with a six pack or all these different things.
Yeah.
So heaps of these people, or as a painting or as a,
This was good
in a
for
movie.
the era of NFTs.
Absolutely. So these people were,
Because the unique, genuine originals, right?
yeah, absolutely. But even better than that, people, the sweetest sound is your own name. So people were seeing their own picture,
Is it?
and that's what they're saying. So you haven't heard that before?
I'm
someone
not sure.
someone
if it
says, "Oh, this, yeah, well."
Well, I believe
You're very humble. You're very non-egotistical, but people do like talking about themselves.
Okay.
That's that's one of those old tricks.
No, I like talking about myself.
You can't just deny that it's a saying. It is a saying.
No, I believe you.
Yeah, no, that's great. So the app actually generated $10 million in the first week, I think.
Okay.
And basically what it was doing was,
How? Or is that too hard of a
I'm
question?
about to explain it.
Okay.
So basically what they were
I'm
doing
just
was,
making this a conversation.
yeah, that's great.
No, I'm joking.
You were you would pay $10 and it would give you 100 photos that were AI generated featuring yourself. So
Yep.
you would upload a few sample pictures,
Mhm.
and then basically that's how it would generate. So this is all in the last year. So this crazy idea for a startup is how they do that. So there's already a lot of the small startups that are coming out of Chat GPT. People are building on Chat GPT.
Yeah.
And so they're already plugging into all the APIs and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it's been, at the moment, less than a month since it's come out.
Wow.
So I think this is a
Are these
huge...
two companies related?
No, so this is a random company
Okay.
that said, oh, we're just going to use the APIs and stuff that we've got to plug into the back of this.
Okay.
Chat GPT has all these random companies that are, being already started.
Yep.
So here's a couple of things. So yeah, Lensa is one of those many startups that are kind of currently in the AI space.
Yep.
But there are there are apps that are being built on both ChatGPT and DALL-E 2, which is
Mhm.
where I think a huge business opportunity is.
Okay.
Because only having one of those is all well and good, and only having the visuals, only having the chat part. But here's what I think I would want to do if I was going to make profits from starting a AI startup. So here's the idea: you would think of a full-length sales funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the marketing side, you have
Mhm.
people getting to click on the ads
Yep.
that you're running, whether they're paid or whatever.
Yeah.
You click on the website through search.
Yep.
Click on a profile on Instagram, which
Yep.
goes to the website.
Yep.
Through getting good videos or good photos on social media or elsewhere.
Yeah.
Then what's the next step for a standard service business? That is actually getting people to fill out a form, separating the qualified leads from the fakes,
Yep.
getting a sales person to give them an email or a call to the client, setting up a meeting with them, and having a meeting and everything. So, and then getting the actual sale done, making it happen, getting the needs of the client met.
Mhm.
So basically, what I think would be a really good opportunity here is to offer the full sales funnel as a service from the perspective of a tool that automates things using DALL-E 2 and ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
So you could get ChatGPT to write ads for a client.
Yep.
And then with DALL-E 2, it would generate images, which they could then use to create AI visuals.
Yeah.
And you could even get ChatGPT to write the description of a website, which would then be used to create the website itself in DALL-E 2. So if you could get all these things lined up and plugging into each other, and you could get ChatGPT to write you a form that captures the inputs for these people, it would just take a little bit of work in between to actually get it to work. But then you could use it to sell, or you could specialize in certain areas where you could sell copywriting, you could sell sales services, you could sell like writing your sales emails for you. You could sell, we'll get you a database of people that are qualified leads. You could sell all of them together. You can write titles for areas on your website and blogs for areas on your website as well. So yeah,
it's interesting.
That's how it would work.
That's quite good. It could even be dynamic. Somehow could track the individual, kind of know their preferences in regards to how they like things worded or the images they like, and could it even just present websites uniquely to every single person who visits the website?
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely, yeah.
That's really good. That's
Generate
really
lots
interesting.
of different ones.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So that's ChatGPT. I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it. It's such an interesting. OpenAI is going to be an incredible business. One thing I might not have mentioned is they're projected to make $200 million in revenue by the end of 2023.
Yeah, wow.
So that isn't. That's keeping in mind that none of their products are currently monetized.
No.
And it's not even like I haven't seen a roadmap specifically of when they're planning to do that.
Yeah.
Which means that they're potentially making $200 million out of this idea when they haven't even started monetizing yet. So obviously, once they really get up and going for a full year with products, they're going to be pretty crazy.
It's good. I like it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.